All right.
Hare Krishna. So we shifted here at this particular place, which is Rajapipla. Near Rajapipla, one village is there. We purchased this place 2.5 years back. Now project started about 4 years back in 2012, and basically before this project started, we were also, myself and Saraswati Prabhu, we were trying for such projects and generating some platform to start such projects. One of the main important question which all the grihasthas and even the leaders and other devotees used to ask is that it is good to speak that you grow everything from your land and sustain, but it's good to speak and it's hard or almost impossible to do, especially for the devotees who are coming from farm or from cities, and no one is going to come to you. It's not possible. They will come, they will go away also. So Prabhupada said that you can easily grow from farm, but it seemed almost impossible for devotees in the city. So gradually some devotees came up for this project, and we have all devotees from cities only. Right now we don't have any devotee who has come from his village farming background. We have 12 families staying here, out of which 3 are farming now at this particular moment, and they are all from cities, and now they are doing well. Today here I would like to present that particular thing, how they are farming. So here you can see Jagannath Chaitanya Prabhu, who is now working with bulls to till the land. No doubt a little difficult work, but he is learning. For last 1.5 years he has been using this particular tract of land. 1.5 acres he has got. The idea is that whatever you need you can produce from land and cows. Whatever you need means what you need really, not the mobile phones and all these things. So you can produce from land. You need to eat, you need to have some cover with clothes, and you need to have some house. So house can be made by mud, and crops can be had to eat, vegetables and other crops, milk from the cows to eat, and you need some clothes to cover, so that you can have by growing cotton. And then there is a whole process for which particular devotee is engaged, which can produce clothes. So this is whole thing. Whatever we require we should generate at our place and not consume from outside. There will be always 10%, 5 to 10% of things which you cannot produce here, like salt is there and other things, that we should purchase from outside. We have to purchase from outside, not that we should, but we have to purchase from outside. For that, what we are able to grow, we grow more and we exchange it or sell it and purchase the things which we can't grow, and that's only minimal, so it reduces our effort. In the modern cities you have to purchase so many things, almost everything you have to purchase anyway. So many things, unnecessary things you have to purchase, which otherwise are unnecessary, but because you live in city, so it becomes a necessity, like mobile phones. And transportation is completely unnecessary thing which was not there in the previous times, this type of transportation. So that costs. Due to that you have to work long hours. So now coming to the practical field, we have given 1.5 acres. We calculated how much it requires to satisfy the needs of one family. We have 32 acres of land, and our idea is not to cultivate 32 acres altogether by one person. This is a modern commercial idea. We do not support that. Srila Prabhupada never supported that. But you grow as much as is required, you use the land as much as is required for your current population. So that is our idea. So one family here, I would like to mention that one family here we have taken as a unit of 4 to 5 adults, because family is a generic word. You can have 100 people family and you can have 2-person family also. So 4 to 5 people. So 1.5 acre is more than necessary for them to grow everything and to grow for the necessities which they need to buy. At least according to the fertility of this particular land where we are standing, here we have water at 15 feet level in the well, and it doesn't dry at all because we have a Sardar Sarovar dam nearby. So it's a dam on Narmada, and so a lot of water is there. So this is a good land with water, ideal to start any project from scratch. It's an ideal land. May not be available everywhere such lands, but it's there. So now in this 1.5 acres of land, they are growing for last 1.5 years. They take 2 seasons mainly. It's a rainy season and the winter season. So in this particular tract of land where you are seeing right now some green patch, right now there is a mung done here. Mung means the green gram. This is a summer and a monsoon crop, so they have done it in summer right now. They give some water there. And in this land previously in monsoon they had rice which is grown not by filling the water but just by dribbling it. So it grows, just grows by rain. So they did rice with some tuer. Tuer is pigeon pea, usually used in North India and the whole part of northern part of India. They use arhar. This is called arhar there. So they use it, and it's a very good crop, very sturdy plant. So we had that lines in between the rice. Tuer is 6 months crop. Rice is 3 months, 3.5 months, 4 months crop. So after we harvested rice at that place, tuer was there already still. And then we had in between chana, chickpea or Bengal gram. So that crop also we had here. And this particular bed which is now fully no crop is there, it is fully tilled. So this particular land had at that time in the monsoon rice with some strands of this juar is sorghum, and we had that. We usually do not go for the big tracts of the same crop. As much as is required, we put some lines like this particular land is there. So we calculate, okay, this length is 240 feet. So we calculate that these many lines we will need for our juar requirement. Our requirement for taking juar is 30 kg. So if I do 3 lines, 30 kg will be sufficient. So we take that much seeds and put in the lines. This is our, this way we calculate rather than calculating on the acres. And then we have to grow some rice. Okay, these many lines for rice and these many lines for tuaram. We calculate, we first decide, okay, these many kilos we want for our needs, and then we grow like that. And we avoid using tractors. We use bullocks as much as possible. We are learning. We are employing also people to drive bullocks but along with them we are learning. And regarding fertilizers, yes, we put some fertilizer. We purchase some cow dung from outside, means cow dung which is already decomposed. We purchase that and put here about 3 trolleys per acre, that is about 6 tons per acre per year per year, or it may go on for 2 years also. Depends on what we have to see that if it is finishing, then we again put. And we use one technique from Subhash Palekar, that is Jivamritam, which is prepared by 200 liters of water you take. Then you put 10 kgs of cow dung and 10 kg cow urine, some 500 grams of small dal. We do not put dal, but it can be put dal and some gur, and keep it for 7 days. And then you can give with the water channels when you water the fields, or you can just put in the fields and in the rainy season, then it will automatically go in. For pests, wheat, all rat, even the organic pesticides we try to avoid to use, because the principle behind not using pesticide is not only that it is harmful for our health. Not using the chemical pesticides is not only because it is harmful for our health, but because it is killing the pests, and we accrue sins for that. Srila Prabhupada, that's why strongly said not to use that. Srila Prabhupada says this in one of the purports in Srimad Bhagavatam. Right now do not exactly remember that, but I can tell you that purport. So the principle stands the same. If you use organic fertilizers, organic pesticides, which may not harm your health, but then if it is killing the pests, then we accrue sinful reactions. So that particular thing we do not use. Now you may say that why not to use, but I did ask many villagers at different places in India. In Tamil Nadu I asked many villagers at different villages. In Gujarat I have asked, in Maharashtra I have asked. Everyone says that we were not using any kind of pesticides. So that was the system. Now it may be that someone may say that okay, but right now, that time pests were not there, right now they are there, so we should use them, otherwise how we will get the crop. These are some of the fears which people have, but what we have experienced, pests come, they go away. They may spoil your some parts of your crop, but that's a part of the game. After some time they stop even that. There are many organic farmers who do not use even organic pesticides. So your soil becomes good according to the modern theory. If your soil becomes good, then pests do not attack. So that is one thing. We have practically here seen that in Tuar, that is pigeon pea, pests were coming and they did spoil some part of our crop. In the second crop they did not come. Somehow I see it as that our sinful reactions were there, so they took it away and now they will not come. So that may be that if we would kill them, then another sinful reaction and they will increase. This is all cycle according to our Vedic literature. This happens. About pests, it may look very fantastic or it may look as a fantasy explanation, but it's a fact. Many people, not even devotees, they do not use organic pesticides also. So that is possible. People are just afraid because of lack of information. And in our experience, we will also become like that. It seems so, because pests are reducing now. So they are growing these things. Then in the rainy season, when this rice was over, then they put some chickpea, and in this place where he is now, he is tilling the land right now. This was done wheat. Wheat was done here with Rajagira. If you might know, we take this Rajagira halwa in our Ekadashi times. So in between there is Rajagira, one line of Rajagira, but majority of part is wheat. So we had wheat here, and it came out nice, very nice actually. The average production of this particular tractor was 1040 kg an acre, which is quite good for a first year organic farming to get so much wheat. And we had a small, in the winter we had a small 3 or 4 lines of maize here. So that maize is already now taken out. You can see just few days back they took out the maize. And now this will go to cows. Then that place is filled with moongfali, that is what you say, groundnuts right now. It's a little difficult crop, but it's okay. Main problem with that is hogs come. Hogs come in other places also, but here also they come. So we have to put some effort when the time is ready. When the hogs come 10-15 days, we have to wake up night. That's a part of our life. A few days you have to take some austerity. One thing is very important to understand, that simple living is never easy. Simple living, if you think comfortable life in simple living, it is not like that. You have to take some discomfort, but then you are saved from having so many complexities. That's why another point is that easy living is never simple. So that is there. So some discomfort will always. And after these 2 seasons, they have got a lot of grains now. In this particular tract of land, he planted wheat. He was expecting 350 kg from this, which is his requirement, and he got 875 kg. So it produced more. So next time we will make it half. That he will do it in half. Then the same amount of wheat. That learning will go. But whatever is required. See, a family will require per person you require about 120 kgs of a cereal. Mix of cereal you can take, either wheat, rice, jowar, bajri, you can take or a mix of that. Total would be about 120 kg per person if he is working on the fields, because his diet will be more. So that 120 kg, if you calculate for 5 people, it becomes 600 kg total. The rice he got from this tract, his whole tract was rice. So he got about 600 kgs of that, and 875 this. So a lot of extra is there in this land which he got. Then tuar he got about 100 kgs. So dal a person will require in a year, one person will require about 1/3 of the cereals, depending on from which tract you are. If you are from Tamil Nadu, you will require even lesser. If you are from North India, you will require little more, because North India they make thick dal. In Tamil Nadu they make very thin, very less dal they use. But on an average they require about 40 to 50 kgs of dal a year per person. So if you have 5 persons, you need 250 kgs. So they did chickpea also here. It's some tract. And that came out to be 110 kg. Tuar came out to be about 50 to 100 kgs. In 2 different places they do. And now they have put also moong. So dal is also, we did dal this time lesser, because from the previous crop we had lot of tuar left, which we miscalculated, and it came out to be very big amount which we have. So dal also they have their cereals. They have jowar 30 kg, bajri they did in monsoon. So bajri also about 50-60 kg they have. Millet. It's a specific type called pul millet. millets. Ragi is also millet. So bajri they come out about 50-60 kg, 30 kg of this juar. This 30 kg juar they got after the birds have eaten them. Because in juar or sorghum it's long plant, very tall plant, and the birds come and eat them. Difficult to save. But we did not save it and birds left 30 kg for us. So that he has. And yeah, they are doing nice now. So this about cereal, pulses they have, some groundnuts they will have. They have this Rajagira because that they grew along with wheat. And every house, on the back side of that house, they have a small patch for their vegetables. So those vegetables, they grow for their house. They mainly eat vegetables from there. Usually they do not purchase vegetables right now. That is the situation. It's both ways. It's not that whatever they were eating in the cities in vegetables, they are getting everything here. In simple link, we have to adjust according to the place. So they have taken a vow, they will eat what is grown here in vegetables. So majority of the things they take what is grown here. So they take sorakkai, it's Tamil sorakkai, what's bottle gourd, Hindi called loki. They take turaiya, it's ridge gourd. They take avarakkai. In Gujarati we say papdi, I don't know the English name of that. These are all climbers, that's lata. Then they take cluster beans, that's gawar. They take bhendi, that's lady's finger. Then they take gawar, bhendi. They take this pumpkin, they take, which even stays for longer time. Then seasonal some vegetables they do, like recently we had some sweet potatoes, lot of them they came. It's very good production. We did not grow it, just do by itself and give a lot of sweet potatoes. So like that we grow vegetables also. And then we have cow for milk. Not for the whole community. We are right now what we are speaking is for the single family. We are not speaking of the whole community. Whole community is a different part because community involves Gurukula. Gurukula is traditionally not self-sufficient. It used to depend on donations. So we are not talking about that. We are talking about the individual farmers here. They have their own house and they cook their own meals to the Lord and take prasadam, and that's how whatever they want they plan. Their planning is they plan themselves that okay, these things we want to eat, we will do this on our land. It's not something like some trust is there and they decide okay, we will plant this, so you have to do this. It's not like the trust is maintaining the farm and they are just like laborers and then everyone will share. It's not like that. That concept is not Vedic. It's not a proper concept. Usual concept in the Varnashrama is that individuals will have land, they will grow. Then if they are growing more, they can sell also, barter also, like that. That is the concept here. So I said about the pesticides, about the fertilizer. So these things are there. So fertilizer, whatever is available, we should use. Specifically cow urine gives a lot of result. So now there is another important aspect of farming and self-sufficiency which is mentioned in Krishi Parashar also, that seeds are one of the most important aspects, that you should have your own seeds for your next crop. today the whole farming setup is like that everyone buys their own seed, their seeds from shops, and that's why you always remain dependent on the companies for your seed. And companies also make seeds like that if you sow it second time you will not get proper yield. Hybrid seeds usually, if you sow hybrid seeds, then the crop which you get from that, if you use the seeds, it will not give much production. And hybrid seeds, if you sow hybrid crops, they will not respond to they will respond only to chemical fertilizers, not to the cow dung fertilizer, and that's why people say this doesn't happen, but it will not happen. You can experience that. Whenever you put hybrid, you have to put some urea or DAP. So seed saving is an important part. Right now we are getting, this is the crop of maize which has been cut from there. From this itself we are saving some seeds, selecting some good parts from the seeds. We procure our seeds from here, we save it for the next time, and then again sow. For this particular crop in this year, we have not purchased seeds from outside. These are the seeds from our last crop which we sow here, except for wheat. He has this particular devotee has sown the last year's seeds, while another devotee had to procure some seeds from outside because the last year's seeds were not proper. There are many techniques to save seeds. We are yet learning. We are yet to research on that, the traditional techniques which can be used to save seeds of different crops. We are yet to learn. Right now we are just using the plastic bags, putting inside some seeds and ash inside, and like that we are saying, but we have to make that arrangement. Regarding seed selection also, this is not the very good procedure to select seeds. After you are harvesting your crop, then you are selecting. The best thing to select seeds is that when your crop is standing, at that time farmer is every day going to the field. Specifically the wife of farmer, she also goes to the fields, and they know each and every plant that, oh, this is a good plant, it is doing good, no problem, no disease, no pests are coming, and they are also growing nice. The whole lifetime of the plants they have seen. So when they notice such plants, they mark them by some means, either putting some small strand of cloth, and at the time of harvest, first those crops are harvested and kept as seed. That will be our healthy crop next time. One of the farmers, organic farmers, he had a papaya, a whole belt of papaya, one field. Papaya means, everyone knows that papaya in English. So there was one particular disease that attacked all the papaya trees, almost all. So he was thinking whether to put some pesticide, means organic pesticide, and control it or not. But he did not do. And 95% of his papaya plants were destroyed. Now a normal person will see it as catastrophe. He saw it as a filtering process. Those which stayed, 5%, he took seeds from that and sown next year, and then no problem at all. So this is way of seed selection, that we should select the best of the plants. We have not yet started practicing that, but we are planning to practice like that. So that is one thing. Now another point will be that because we do not want to use electricity, as that's not the part of our project, neither anyone used to use electricity in your previous times, thus watering the land will be a difficult part, because if you run a pump, it will give about 30,000 liters an hour easily, by which you can irrigate 8 to 12 hours an acre of land, just by one person managing the irrigation process. but that much big area is not possible, or it's very difficult to irrigate by a single person if no electricity is used. So we are planning to go that way, that we will pull out water by bullocks from the well and irrigate the land. That will of course reduce our total irrigatable area per number of person, because you need 2 persons there on the particular instrument which we have arranged to take out water from well. One will be working with the bullocks, another will be working with the procedure of taking out the water, and 1 person to divert the water in the field. So 3 persons, and the flow rate will be not more than 10,000 liters an hour. So obviously our irrigated amount will decrease, and that's why we are always planning that crops should be those which grow easily in rainy season. So we have to change our habits gradually. Here the staple crop is bajra and maize, this pearl millet and maize. They grow nicely, so we become satisfied by that. Wheat we have to reduce gradually, so that may come gradually, that's not a big thing, because wheat will require 4 to 7 waters. If we are going to do it in a big way, then it will take a lot of our energy. So that is one of the future plans. We are planning some more well nearby this particular land, take out water by bullocks and give water to them. Another future planning which will be in near future is to make our own oil for eating. So that we are also planning.